तन्न कृपा भरौ भुवि भुव मारव अंतरकौ वंदे रूप सनातन रघुजुगौ श्री विचारणे धर्म संस्थापक लोकानां हितकारिणं त्रिभुवने मन्नं शरणं करो
In the summer, the sun goes overhead and it goes straight down into the ocean.
Sri Radha Krishna Mo Gopna Sam Kund Radha Kund Giri Udhan Ki Jai, Vrindavan Dham Ki Jai, Navadip Dham Ki Jai, Ganga Mai Ki Jai, Jamuna Mai Ki Jai, Guru Dwarka Dham Ki Jai, Swami Bhakti Ki Jai, all glories to the Krishna, all glories to the Thank you very much.
Hare Krishna Maharaj, please respect my respectful obeisances. All glories to his confounder Acharya Srila Prabhupada. All glories to assembled devotees. Hare Krishna Maharaj.
Sorry, I was muted. I didn't. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Maharaj.
Welcome from Tel Aviv. Oh, you're in Mayapur now. You really get around.
Thank you, Maharaj. So we have 4 of us. Can we start, Maharaj? We wait a little bit.
We've gone over all the lessons, and for today, I'd like to have everybody do most of the talking about whatever you like, actually. But one basic question that's being asked, and they're interviewing so many devotees every week: why should we read Prabhupada's books? You know, why do you read Prabhupada's books? You know, something like that. Why we stress on Prabhupada's books? There's so many other books. Very important for society. I'd like to hear everybody say something about that. And not just 2 or 3 words. I mean, seriously, at least a few minutes.
Okay, Maharaj.
Because this is our business, is to ourselves, you know, somehow get absorbed in the book, but not just, you know, as taking a test so we can answer a few questions, but to actually have a relationship with Prabhupada and all the personalities that are in the books. Even materialists say, you know, reading a book is like having a conversation with the author. Bombay newspapers advertising, you are what you read, you know. So they're saying read this particular newspaper, but I say, yeah, you're all you read, so read the Bhagavatam. You will become a book Bhagavad. So just to get started, and because we've covered a lot of stuff, and in one sense it's all repetition, but the more we try to express ourselves and whatever we've learned or felt or experienced, the more it becomes part of us. So that first topic, just, you know, why do we read Prabhupada's books? What is the special feature of Prabhupada's books? There's so many Vedic literatures.
Okay, so we'll take it one by one. Who wants to start first? Yadinath Prabhu wants to start? Maharaj is asking a question. How do we read Prabhupada's book? He wants us to present some few minutes. Some noise is there in the background. Do you have some other device there?
Sounds like there's 2 devices on in the same place.
There's some echoing around you.
Hare Krishna.
Okay, better. It's better now. And go ahead.
Is it better?
Yes, it's clearer now. You can go ahead.
Now it's fine.
Okay. Hare Krishna.
Hare
Yes, we have learned that there are 3 ways of receiving knowledge, or 3 types of knowledge. One is Pratyaksha, Anumana, and Shabda. And it is explained that Shabda is the best kind of knowledge because Shabda Praman is knowledge coming directly from the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So Srila Prabhupada is not speaking his own concoction or speculative knowledge, is speaking Shabda Praman, knowledge which is given by the Supreme Authority, which is Krishna. So Prabhupada is giving that same knowledge to us. Therefore, we are happy to read Prabhupada books. And in Prabhupada's writing, Prabhupada have a very special mode, the mode of compassion. So Prabhupada have a very special compassion for the fallen conditions. So he wants to reclaim everybody back to Krishna, back to the lotus feet of Krishna. And therefore, the books and writings of Srila Prabhupada is very potent because it's full of condensed devotion. And it is good for our spiritual advancement. So once also Prabhupada himself was asked why he have so much faith in the Vedas. And Srila Prabhupada's answer was that he have faith in the Vedas because the Vedas contain indisputable facts. So the knowledge that is given by Srila Prabhupada is knowledge that is given by the Paramparam, and the knowledge which is given by the Paramparam is knowledge which is given by Krishna himself. Therefore, this makes me to have faith to want to read Srila Prabhupada books. And lastly, Srila Prabhupada have very special realizations, and he puts all these realizations also in his writing. So this is very positive, and it's a good reason why we should read Srila Prabhupada books. Hare Krishna.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
We'll get back to you. Who wants to go next?
Okay, Madhvan Prabhu, can you go next?
Hare Krishna, Maharaj, of Grace. Yes, why I read Prabhupada's book, first of all, is to better my own life. Because the knowledge I got from Prabhupada's book is inexhaustible, and I take interest reading it every day in the morning. And of course, this is a knowledge that is not even taught in the university, knowledge about the soul, you know, a vital knowledge for one's life. And it also gives us that knowledge about creation, the origin. Creation was explained in the Bible, but of course, not into details. But reading Prabhupada's book, you get all the details. And then it's spiritual. That is, it applies to anybody, no matter your religion, inclination, tribes, and all that not. So it's like the knowledge from Prabhupada is filling a gap, a very essential gap in one's life. So it's very vital, and that's why I appreciate reading Prabhupada's book. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So Maharaj said he will respond after all of us. So Kamalash Prabhu, I think it's your turn.
Hare Krishna Maharaj, Dhanavad Pranam, all glory to you, all glory to all the assembled devotees. The reading of Srila Prabhupada's book is very important to me because it makes me to remember. It makes me to remember and reminds me about the real goal of life. It clears the disease of forgetfulness, the forgetfulness of knowing that we are actually spirit souls, part and parcel of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So each time we read the book, it reminds us of that. It reminds me of that fact that I am not just the body, I am the spirit, soul, part and parcel of Krishna. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. I think it's my turn now.
Okay, now think of it like you're in a college class.
Hare Krishna.
You know, scholarly a little, not new people, but people who have studied, you know, Indiology or studied different religions and
This is my network. Maharaj's
want to
network.
know why you think these are different. Yeah, think like that. So
Okay.
get a little more deeper into it.
Okay. Hare Krishna Maharaj. I'll try to, by your mercy, try to present my purpose for reading Srila Prabhupada's book, offering my respectful obeisances at your feet. Why do I read Srila Prabhupada's book? I will want to approach the question from the study of Srimad Bhagavatam itself. Srimad Bhagavatam starts with the question of the six sages: what is the all good for all people at all times? That is the first question of the sages. And their second question is, what is the essence of all scriptures? So every living entity, including myself, I believe, wants all auspiciousness, all goodness. So Srila Prabhupada's book presents this in an undisputable way, of their background, irrespective of their faith, irrespective of their ethnicity. So that good for all living beings is presented in Srila Prabhupada's book in its very scientific, philosophical, and historical fact. Secondly, Srila Prabhupada's book reveals the scriptures, irrespective of one's faith, one's religion, one's background. So reading Srila Prabhupada's books for me fulfill these two essential requirements that affects all living entities. So because it directly brings about goodness to me and all living beings, and also because it answers the ultimate purpose of all revealed scriptures, which is described in Srila Prabhupada's book as Bhakti. So I like to read Srila Prabhupada's book. But more importantly, Srila Prabhupada himself is a perfect example of the goal of all scriptures, that is a bhakta, a devotee, one who practices what it teaches. So because Srila Prabhupada teaches bhakti, which is the ultimate essence of all scriptures, and himself practice it, in his life it is explicitly described how one can achieve it. So I like reading Srila Prabhupada's book for these three basic reasons, and I summarize it. One is because it gives all goodness. It fulfills all of the purpose of the goodness for all living beings. It gives the essence of all revealed scriptures, and it's also in his life practically explained in his books. That's my brief summary of why I read Srila Prabhupada's book.
All right. Anyone else who hasn't spoken?
There are only three of us here for now. The others have not come.
And Kamalaksha speak?
Yes.
Okay.
Kamalaksha,
So, like I said, there's every week the Board of Education, they're interviewing different devotees about reading Prabhupada's books, what effect it had on their life. So that's another thing you can talk more on that. On just a few points. For a scholarly way, not everybody would care about that, but Prabhupada is coming into succession. He's commenting on the writings of the acharyas without changing anything. And then some interesting points. Prabhupada was, we could say caught, but he read his own books. And he wasn't, just some proud author. When devotees ask him, it's surprising that you're reading your own books, because most authors, they wouldn't read their own books. Prabhupada said, I want to see what Krishna has written. He said, I didn't write these books, and I want to see what Krishna has written. So that's something. So go around again, but what particular effect you, at least every devotee I've practically ever known, read other religious books, whether it was the Bible or the Quran or in the hippie times, all different Mayavadi books, Buddhist writings. What was it about Prabhupada books that made you join a society and give up, some of you gave up education and you gave up, something when living in an austere life, maybe not doing something that was super popular with the mass of people or with their families. So generally devotees would say it was Prabhupada's books that did it ultimately. And generally it's Prabhupada's books that keep us going. So just tell your own experience, you know what I mean? Without trying to be academic or anything, but your feelings. What was your experience at, when you read Prabhupada's books for the first time, and when you read them now after many, many years? All right?
Yes, Maharaj.
We'll start. We got Chitraputra. Did you hear that question? He just came in.
Chitraputra, Jyotish Swarup is here, so maybe they can also. Maharaj is asking us a question. Each and everyone, Jyotish Swarup left.
Looks like he just disappeared.
Yeah, they both disappeared. They both left. Chitra and Jyotish Swarup, both of them left. It's okay, we can continue.
Okay, Yadanath and Kamalaksha, you have your cameras very nicely. You can see your face and all your features very clearly. So you have good lighting. Thank you. It's
Thank you
very
so much,
important for when we go on time. I always have to be trying to find a window and have the window in front of me and get the camera right and everything. Because you see many people, the backlight is there or something, you can't see their face. It's very nice to see the features. Okay, very good. And the white teeth, I don't have, but you're fortunate. All right, so Chitraputra seems to have disappeared. Internet problems.
Yeah, both himself and then Jyotish Swarup also left.
So we'll start with Madhavan then. Now remember, just let it out, just open up. Don't think you're trying to impress anybody with your scholarship or anything, but just, what really touches the hearts of people when we're preaching is emotional realizations and being yourself and just, letting people know how you feel. All right?
All right, Maharaj. Well, what actually happened, before I came to know the movement, Krishna consciousness. I had an experience before while I was a student of the university in University of Ife. Just one evening, I looked up and I saw something we can call the UFO, unidentified flying object. I saw it in the sky. So I don't want to go into details. You all know about UFOs. So when I got to, that gave me an insight that there is still much to be learned about this, our creation. So I couldn't get much information being a Christian. So when I entered the temple for the first time, that was the question I asked the speaker. So, and the answer, I was very satisfied with the answer because it made me realize that we have so many planets, more knowledge about the universe. So I could understand that there are some other living entities in other planets who has that ability to even travel or to come to this planet. Their technology is higher than our own, and so on. So the inquisitiveness to have more knowledge. I'm a scientist, so then I could get more scientific information from reading Prabhupada's book, So just like that, and even the normal day-to-day life, you can get a lot of knowledge that can help. And after some time, even the environment or people around you, they will notice that one is different. Then another point again, which is very strong, when I was young, I don't like if somehow I see a dead either lizard especially. So when I was very small, maybe age of 5 or 6, any dead lizard I see on the road, when I get to eat meat becomes very difficult because I'll be seeing that dead animal. So since then, I've been looking around or eager to see people who are vegetarians. So when I got to know the Rastafarians also was also a vegetarian somehow. So, but later when I got across to Krishna consciousness through reading Prabhupada's book, then I felt very comfortable being a vegetarian. So like this, I'm naturally inclined to the movement or to the system. Hare Krishna Maharaj.
So did you find answers to questions you had or that you weren't getting from any other source?
Yes, Maharaj.
No, I mean, this is something to think about. Like many devotees, Americans, had experience with Christianity before and had a lot of unsatisfied questions. Like I remember myself, and then I was quite young, junior high school, maybe high school. And then I found out later many of my god sisters and god brothers had a very similar we asked, like, what about, they were saying Jesus is the only way, there's no other way. And we asked, I never heard of Jesus. At that time, we didn't know that Africa was full of Christians. So we would, as far as we knew, Africa was jungle bunnies. From all we knew was Tarzan movies. But everybody's condemned, the Chinese and all these Buddhists, everybody's condemned, and we just couldn't deal with that. It just didn't make sense. Or even, animals, the animals, they don't have souls. But we had pets, and we had relationship horses sometimes, and it just didn't make sense. And then when we read Prabhupada's books, all of a sudden there was everything right in front of us, like right away, without any, it's right there, the facts about everything. So anyway, okay, that's good. It's important to think about this, learn how to express it, because we do talk about it amongst ourselves all the time. Okay, who will be next?
Yadunat is gone. Kamalash Prabhu, you want to go next before we go to Shitra Prabhu? Shitra Prabhu is back. Kamalash Prabhu. You need to unmute yourself.
Yeah, so you're going to the devotees. Reading Srila Prabhupada's book makes me, before I joined the movement, I used to be very scary and afraid of death all the time. I've seen my uncles die, aunties die, close relations die, and I used to be very scared and afraid of death. But when I read Srila Prabhupada's book, it makes me not to be afraid of death so much. That has been my realization.
Why? What made you not afraid to?
Time I read Srila Prabhupada's book, I don't fear death anymore.
But what makes you not to fear death? We didn't hear you from the beginning. What makes you not to fear death? Okay, I think he dropped. His network went off. Okay, maybe I can share before Prabhu comes. Then we'll go to Chitra Prabhu because they have not answered the first and second question. So they need 2 questions to answer. Kamalasha Prabhu is coming back. He needs to connect his audio. Okay, his audio is connected now. Kamalasha Prabhu, you can continue. Kamalasha Prabhu. I think he's having challenges with his network. He's speaking, but we're not hearing him from here.
Who's that?
Kamalasha Prabhu is trying to speak, but actually he's speaking, but we are not hearing him from here. I think his network is bad.
Network. Maybe he muted. Sometimes these things mute themselves,
Yeah, he's not muted. He's actually on mute, but we're not hearing him from here.
I've had that experience. I don't know how it happened, but I'm muted.
Yeah, once the network flips, and it comes back, it puts you on mute mode.
If it cuts out, then it mutes. You're muted when it comes back, and
Yes.
you have too much background.
His network is very flurry.
No light on your face. No,
Yeah, it's gone now.
okay, then someone else.
Okay, I'll speak while we wait for him.
The Chitra is back.
Yes, Chitra is back. Tamala Krishna Prabhu is here, and Okay, they can go first, Maharaj.
You whatever. Whoever can do it.
Okay, I'll do, and then so that they can get to know what we're discussing, so they can prepare themselves. Mitra Prabhu and Kamala Krishna Prabhu, you're listening. So Gurudev wants us to share our experience why we read Srila Prabhupada's book. And for me, actually, I was born with what I come to know now with some kind of clairvoyancy, some spiritual, some ability to see things beyond the ordinary. I was born with that talent right from childhood. So I have a lot of gifts. And when I see things, when I dream things, when I say it, it comes to pass naturally. So, but as I grew up, and I always have one question. I was born in a Muslim background, and because I was very deeply involved in religious activities from childhood, I was actively studying the scriptures, the Quranic scripture. And one thing I couldn't resolve in all of the teachings was that the Quran teaches us that the cause of death is sin. And I asked a question in my course of studying the Quran, the course of studying. So I asked a question: will a day-old baby die or 2-year-old baby die? Yes, she hasn't committed any sin. And no one could give me an answer to that question. So it became my lifelong questioning. So as I continue to grow in life, I still have that question in my mind. But sometimes along the line, in my early teens, I came into Christianity. It's a long story. I don't want to go to the deep stories for now. But I took to Christianity. And when I took to Christianity, the same talent I had from childhood, from birth, was still there. I could see vision. And then because in that tradition, there is a whole lot of emphasis on the miracles. So I realized that what I had was not just ordinary things. So I was doing a whole lot of miracles, healing people and all of that. So a particular sin that led me to Krishna consciousness happened sometimes in 1987 when a baby died. The baby was about 2-year-old. And to cut the long story short, the baby was satisfied dead, but I refused to allow them to take the dead body because I was so egoistic, because I was thinking I was talking directly to God. As at that time, because of the kind of potency that I do have, I was thinking I had no intermediary between me and God. I thought I was talking directly with God because I speak with personalities beyond the normal, which I think I was talking with God. So I was egoistic like that, and I was egoistically wanting to bring back the dead baby to life. But somehow or the other, in the long course of the action, I was able to bring that baby back to life for that day. She eventually died some few days after because of my pronouncement. But the baby died after, but he came back to life for that day. But then that became my bewilderment, because when that baby died, the constant messages I was information I was hearing from what I could call me probably an angel, was that this baby was destined to die by 2-year-old. So why would she die by 2-year-old? I was trying to find an answer to that. And that was what led me to reading more further, because I came to realize that there is something about God that I don't know. So I started reading esoteric books. I read Lostam Rampa, I read Grimace, I read so many other esoteric books. And in the course of reading that, one day I got opportunity to read one book written by a journalist called "You Can Control Your Destiny," because I was finding solutions to this subject matter of destiny. So I read the book, and the book mentioned about Bhagavad Gita. So I was planning to go to India because I never thought I could get Bhagavad Gita in my country. So I was trying to read Bhagavad Gita, and I was looking for it. But then the author of that book states that one should not delve into yoga. One should not delve into yoga. So I was trying to find introduction to yoga book and Bhagavad Gita, but then I couldn't find. So sometimes when I was preparing to travel, then I bumped into some devotee, which I never knew then who was a devotee. I didn't even know that there are some group of people who are practicing that process. So I bought 2 books, Srila Prabhupada's 2 books, Perfection of Yoga and the Topmost Yoga, Krishna Consciousness. So those two books, when I read it, actually, I took to Krishna Consciousness at the end of that day because I finished reading the book about around 2 a.m. in the morning. And I started practicing what Papa said in the book. I started chanting. And I was like this for about a whole year. And it was after a whole year of chanting, fasting on Ekadasi, that I came to know that there's some devotee group. Then I went to the temple. And summarily, my purpose of reading Srila Prabhupada's book is centered around the fact that my lifelong questioning of destiny and understanding of destiny was answered from Srila Prabhupada's book. And from that practical experience, I was able to convince myself that this is the ultimate source of knowledge. So I went in for it. So that's how and why I read Srila Prabhupada's book, because Srila Prabhupada's book answers not just only my question about destiny, but ended up answering my questions about the source of the mystic or whatever talent that I had, which I never knew where it's coming from. So many questions that I had in terms of spirituality was answered by Srila Prabhupada's book. And because Srila Prabhupada's book, the Lamrita itself, depicts Srila Prabhupada's life, how he attained that level of realization, makes me to want to read Srila Prabhupada and live in his, follow in his footsteps.
Okay, now that is the kind of, would make me want to read the book. You know what I mean? And everybody, every devotee, if they take the, think about it, they have similar feelings. Something happened, it's not exactly like Paul getting struck by lightning and all that, but something like that, and then we realize, it's many lifetimes, past lifetimes. And so thank you for that. And so who will be next?
So, Rasavan Prabhu is here. Tamal Krishna Prabhu. Rasavan Prabhu, we are asking a question. Gurudev is asking a question. What is it? Purpose? Why do we want to read Srila Prabhupada's book? So you can share from your personal experience why you want to read Srila Prabhupada's book.
Especially your own personal experience, how it affected your life. Because here you are, trying to study them after so many years and still studying them and trying to distribute them and have a class on every morning. So, it's not just one thing happening to you. It must be an ongoing experience.
Okay. So can I speak now?
Yeah, you can go ahead.
Okay. I came to Srila Prabhupada's books. First, we were born into a family of Christian background.
Sorry, Prabhu, your face is not showing. Can you adjust your camera? Adjust your camera so that we can be seeing your face.
Is it okay now?
Yeah, I think it's okay. Yes,
is it okay now?
Yes,
okay.
It's okay now. You can go ahead.
So we were born in the Christian family and were trained by the Presbyterians and then later by the Pentecosts. But all along from my childhood days, religious matters are like an inborn thing to me, to the extent that anytime we are being related any religious story about Abraham, Jesus, Moses, and all the rest, what I used to feel was that as if during the time of the passage of these great personalities, I was present. So my activities in terms of religious matters used to wonder my teachers a lot. But along the way, as we grew, In fact, facing material life, I enter into some difficulties, and so many questions popped in my mind, whereby I was not finding answer until I heard of one fetish priest who could help me. So I traveled long way to go and see the fetish priests. But when I went to the fetish priest, the fetish priest told me that, oh, my dear boy, you are not for this our part. That he was a Methodist priest, but the spirits arrested him to come and head this shrine, because the shrine is a family tradition, and then they used to help people. But when he saw me, he said, no, they can never offer any help for me, that my help is not with them here, that I'm a child of God. So in that same town, I happened to meet one Seventh-day Adventist member who was also well grounded in the scriptures. So me, the fetish priests, and the Seventh-day Adventist member, we talked about God all throughout the night. So it was, then he told me, if what he's telling me, in fact, I'm not understanding, then I should stay. So I stayed there for 3 days, and then on the Thursday, then it was the shrine day. So they performed. And actually, they used to kill, give fowls, kill the fowl, and the fowl would dance some kind of way before dying. But on my part, everything they did, the spirits rejected it. So the priest told me that, yes, he told me beforehand that I'm not of this part. Meanwhile, through my spiritual research, I read through Lobson Rampa and Ekanka book, Mayikari book, Buddhists, Islam, and all those things. Along the side, I became a Muslim. And I prayed with them for some time. And then when I left the fetish priest, as I was going, then I met devotees with spreading. And then I bought, the first book that attracted me was Coming Back, The Science of Reincarnation. So when I was reading the Coming Back, all what I felt was that, all what I felt was that, like somebody was wiping tears from my eyes.
Was just getting really good. I see him, but I don't hear him now.
Yeah, it's network. It's having a network. I think we lost him due to network. So I'm sure he will be coming back. Okay, he's connected back. So let's see.
Yeah, are you hearing me now?
Okay, we can hear you now. You can go ahead.
Yeah. So when I read the Coming Back, in fact, it explained everything in life to me, to the extent that, in fact, that has been my beginning in the spiritual life. I understood this part that, yes, this is the ultimate part. And after many, many years of reading and then practicing on my own, I joined the temple. First, I used to visit and then going and coming. And then I joined them and then stayed with them fully. and became a devotee. And from that time on, that is where I've landed and understood that this is the ultimate path. Hare Krishna.
And then you're still reading Prabhupada's books, and what do you get from them now?
Oh, actually, my reading of Prabhupada's book has made me to understand whom I am beyond the body as a soul, and also whom God is, my relationship with him, with devotees, and the whole system. So I understood that, yes, this is the real part of life. And actually, I want to die in it.
All right. And you feel like inspired to?
Yes, yes, Maharaj. I feel so much inspired.
Make others read the books.
Please, Maharaj, come again.
Right? You want to pick up on, do you think that everyone else could have the same experience?
Oh, sure. I think everyone, since we are all jivas, the same, it's just a question of one fully giving himself up. As the opportunity I feel is open to all. That is why we go on Sankirtan preaching to people. Sometimes we are rejected, others accept us.
Okay, good. Anyway, this is what we need to hear and share. Okay, who we got?
Hare Krishna Maharaj.
So,
Who's next?
Who is asking? Okay, Tara Krishna Prabhu. Okay, you're the one using the answers. Okay, you ask the question. Did you hear the question? Hare Krishna Prabhu. Tamar Krishna Prabhu, did you hear the question? You are mute.
No, I don't have any question.
Okay, the question is that Maharaj is asking us to share experience. What inspires us to read Srila Prabhupada's book from the beginning and now?
Okay. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Yes. I am 7 Days Adventist. I was born into a school of 7 Days Adventist. But I have so many questions. Anytime we meet as a students, when we learn, I have so many questions. Some of the question is, they say there's a war in the heaven, and the Satan and the God or Jesus. But Satan couldn't succeed, and they were thrown into this earth. By then, when you read Job, he said there's a meeting in heaven whereby Satan went there. So when you have problem with somebody, can he come to you? What means you arrest him? But here then, God asked Satan, where from you? He said, I mean, running about the earth. How do you see Job? Means there's a link between Satan and God. So always, I mean, asking these questions that I didn't have no answer. Until one time at Human Radio, I heard about Prabhu Jian. And I said, this man have a nice thing. Let me find where this man is. So gradually, once the time he have a conference, I came here. I came to the temple. but I couldn't find Prabhujian. The problem that I brought here, as I enter into the temple, I forget the problem. And since then, I was attracted. I said, here's the place I want to live. Since then, I'm still a devotee now. So, in short, through searching, through so many understandings, I didn't get those understandings. Whereby when I enter here, by reading Srila Prabhupada books, I said, yes, this is the ultimate goal. So means from my past life, that's where I end my life. That's why I'm here. God brought me here to continue where I end my life. So I think this is a chance for me. I'm happy to be a devotee. Hare Krishna.
And that's nice. This is the kind of thing that we can connect with people, you know, just saying it's ancient and all that, that's good, but everybody will say, well, the Bible, they say this, and the Quran people, everybody says theirs is the only way. But when you share your experience, how it affected you, that makes people feel like maybe they'd like to try it also. Right?
Right.
Witnessing, the Christians call it. I was, I can't remember, probably junior high school. I go to this church camp and, you know, I had some kind of interest, but I was never satisfied, you know, I was never inspired by any of the people talking. And then, so they had they were having people from different groups come to speak. So two Mormon boys, you know, these Mormons that go out preaching, they came and they told their story, you know, Joseph Smith and the golden, whatever they are, and the Revelations, and of course the other Christian kids that challenged, do you really believe that? You know, and they said yes, and they were so convinced. And that was the first time I'd ever seen somebody really convinced, you know, of what they were doing. And it impressed me very much. I didn't run off and join them, but I remembered it. Then when I met devotees, they were so convinced. It's all they could talk about. And whatever they said they should do, they were doing it. Then when I got the book, it was just too much, you know, just overwhelming. But that idea that it, you know, if you just present your own conviction and feeling, it's very purifying for us, brings us closer to Prabhupada, but, you know, it connects people. So let's hear some more. I like to hear this. Give me faith. Okay, who's next? I see movement, but I don't hear anything.
Okay, I think Chitra Prabhu is there, so Chitra Prabhu can unmute and share your experience. Why you want to read Srila Prabhupada's book, why you are reading Srila Prabhupada's book, why you read Srila Prabhupada's book from the beginning. Chitra Prabhu.
Yeah, Hare Krishna Prabhu.
We'll come back to you, Jyoti Sharu Prabhu.
Okay.
Okay, Chitra, go ahead.
Okay, Hare Krishna Prabhu. All glory to Guru Maharaj. Swami Kavicandra Mara August August some more devotee. First of all, I'll say born in Krishna consciousness, and since my childhood, I've been around 15, my age of 13, 14. Our guru, my parents, Guru Maharaj, that is His Holiness Shabbatitated Swami, asked them to come and stay in the temple and take care of the new temple that is in Koko Temple in Ghana. So I was the last book. Every morning after Mangalati, we read book, especially Krishna book. And I used to listen to the pastimes of Krishna. And I was much attracted to that book. So it became my personal, I asked my father, who was then the temple president, to give me a personal book of Krishna. So he gave me, and it became my personal treasure. I loved reading it. And throughout my reading the book, it inspired me so much. It brought me much attracted to Krishna, more to do the service. I always feel so much joy, so much bliss that, and one thing that I used to see Prabhupada's commentary in the Krishna book. And sometimes, first of all, my first thing about reading Prabhupada's book is that it increased my devotionals and my joy. I usually have happiness. So more, when I'm going to school, I have so much happiness that when I close from school, I quickly rush to the temple. And I'll be doing so much service, listening, reading the past. I read and read and read and read. So that's my first thing. And the second thing was that Prabhupada was an English scholar. One thing that I found was that Prabhupada used some certain English that I never found them in school. There are some English words that Prabhupada have used in his books that throughout my school to the university, I've never met some lecturers, even high lecturers, using them. And when I use them in school to express myself, my English teachers and others even see that I'm learned. So because of reading Prabhupada's book, one, it helped me advance in my Krishna consciousness. It brought me, increased my joy and bliss from my very infancy. Because of that, I was not attracted to mundane things. I didn't become attracted to any of those. I was always fond of Krishna books, fond of watching Krishna cartoons, so many things. That was the first thing. And the second, it increased my English, my learning abilities, even in school. That it showed up in school that my teachers liked me so much. And thirdly, when I came to read other books that Prabhupada has written, especially his preaching books, it also opened my mind and broadened my mind, realizing myself as a soul that I've even in my Krishna consciousness, parents are also spiritual souls, and therefore we all have to make our journey back home. Because of that, at a point in time, some of my family members they are not devotees. It is only my mother and my father who are devotees. Sometimes they influence some of my senior brothers and sisters who my father used them to join the movement, to live Krishna consciousness. But because of reading Prabhupada's preaching books, broadened my mind that at the point I was even able to do a Krishna a religious debate with one of my uncles who was a Muslim and one of my aunties who was a Christian. That they were not even able to influence me, and I was able to win their debate and made them see that Krishna consciousness was superb. Had they not been reading Prabhupada's books, I would have been removed. Some of my brothers and sisters left Krishna consciousness due to some of our family members influencing them that our parents have joined a bad religion and that. But because of Prabhupada's book, it kept me and maintained me in Krishna consciousness that and now when I grew and matured, I realized that I'm on the right path and I'm not a loser. I'm on a higher goal that I feel so grateful to Srila Prabhupada. So I've also, because of that, I've also giving many books. One of my hobby I do is giving Prabhupada's book. I go to those I know, I give it to them. Sometimes I go to library and I place them there. So, but that is what I've been doing personally. And I share to all people I know. Some of them are police, some of them are distant. So I'm so very grateful to Srila Prabhupada. I'm so very distant. So this is my experience upon reading Srila Prabhupada. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Now, I think everybody can see how enlivening this is. I was just thinking you should, make some internet page or something and get all the devotees to share like this. Get it out there in the public, or even if you can speak publicly, because it's a main question. How did you come to Krishna? How did you get to the, people that are actually interested, they want to know how, why did you join this? Why are you doing this? So it's a very purifying and powerful thing. So please make some Facebook. Now there's so many different things. I don't know what's the most popular in Africa. Janet Chukshu has people that know all about it. They can set you up, how to broadcast on so many different places at the same time. And, get these things out there. All right, that was very beautiful, Prabhu.
Thank you.
Your parents will be
All right, Maharaj. Thank you. I'll do that.
I have
many devotees in other countries.
Thank you so much.
Okay, Maharaj. Should I call the next person, Maharaj? Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Maharaj. Kamalesha Prabhu, your speaker is making some cracking noise. You want to speak? Kamalesha Prabhu. I think we lost Maharaj also, Maharaj network. I think flipped also. So we have lost Maharaj, so I'm sure it's coming back to us. So let's wait a little bit while we wait. Kamalasha was speaking before. Kamalasha Prabhu, do you want to speak now? Or you want to wait for Maharaj to come? Otherwise, I play some bhajan while we wait for Maharaj to come back. Is that okay with us? Nobody seems to be hearing.
Yes, it's okay. Prabhu.
Yes.
Yeah,
You
it's
can
okay.
play some bhajans.
Okay.
But let Kamaraj Prabhu mute.
Okay. Let's hear Sashi Sita.
नवगौरवरं नवपुष्पसरं नवभावधरं नवलस्य परं नवहास्यवरं प्रणमामि शचीसुत.
Everybody got cut off. Okay, everybody's back. All right. So,
Welcome, Maharaj.
Who is Asus?
Asus has spoken. That is Tamala Krishna Prabhu. So the next person is Jyoti Swarup.
Asus got a new camera. Usually his Infinix, right? Better. Asus is very good. It's a real one. Okay, Jyoti Swarup Prabhu.
So Jyoti Swarup Prabhu, what we're discussing is Maharaj is asking us to share our realization why we read Srila Prabhupada's book, what makes us to continue reading Srila Prabhupada's book, and what we
And what they've done
experienced.
for us, what was our experience, how we feel that others can get the same experience. We want them to have that.
Yes, Maharaj, Hare Krishna. Dandavat Pranam, Maharaj.
Okay, good.
All right.
Maharaj, as you know, I don't know how to and what to speak. There is nothing good about me, but there is a lot of experience as we live the lives. Good experiences and bad experiences. So, Maharaj, I have read in Prabhupada's book, like when we take birth in Vrindavan, we are already liberated, and we will get the liberation easily. But and as we got birth in India, naturally there is a tendency to get close to Krishna easily. It's very easy and common. But I always pray to Krishna and thankful to Krishna to give me birth in India. Otherwise, I would have lost in this material world totally. Even after taking the birth in India, I was totally lost because at the age of almost 25, I've finished almost my half of the age in darkness. I was staying in Ville Parle, Mumbai, close to ISKCON temple. But hardly I used to go once a year. That also when there is a festival, Janmashtami, just to see the opulences. But we never thought that we as a soul, we are a soul. Just we were thinking that we are this body and we were decorating from morning to night. So it's our false ego, Maharaj. So, I was always thinking when I goes to temple, always they push devotees, they push other people, non-devotees or devotees, to give them a bead, a chanting bead. So when they comes to temple, they should chant at least once. And second thing they used to do, they used to distribute the books. So I was thinking always why is it necessary or why is to do that? But I didn't realize that when I came to Ghana, then I got opportunity uh, to serve Sri Sri Radha Govinda. Then I got realized that how the devotion life is important, how the chanting is important, and how the book important, Prabhupada's book. So when I started reading, then I realized and then I got an answer why it is necessary. Because now even I feel that if someone comes new person, I have to give them the chanting bits and Prabhupada books to read. Otherwise, they will be in the ignorance whole this life and so many life. So just to get rid of this Janma Mrityu Jara Vyadhi, we have to be in association with devotees. That is one thing I realized. And reading and hearing is important. For me, Maharaj, when I came to Ghana, actually I was very bad in English. I can't even talk. I can't even talk in English. When I went to the first interview for the job, I can't even speak. But just gradually reading English books and then Prabhupada books, then I understood. But mercy of Krishna, we have Prabhupada books in different languages. That helps a lot because I had a Bhagavad Gita even in beginning in English, but I rarely even open because I was afraid how to even read and how to understand the language. But the same language, the same Bhagavad Gita, when I bought it in my language, in Gujarati language, I was totally absorbed in that. I used to read with Mataji, children's, and then we realized that how important the books are. because Krishna has given everything. Krishna is in the book, is in Srimad Bhagavatam, but we, because of our language barrier, we couldn't reach there. But as we got in different language, we read once and we understood. We at least we are understanding what at least Krishna and Prabhupada wanted to tell us. So we are so grateful to Prabhupada that at least our this human life we can utilize by reading and hearing and by preaching, so that we don't take birth again. Yes, Maharaj. Hare Krishna.
Okay, so please, realize everybody can have this experience. Everyone is a spirit soul and they're all lost in space, right? I think they had the movie Lost in Space, and everybody's lost in some space, Lost in Translation was one movie. But Prabhupada's books are not lost in translation. We're seeing that in many countries where the books, nobody reads English, we're making more devotees reading the translated books. And they're also very enthusiastic to distribute them. So very good. And all right, that's very nice.
Yes, Maharaj. Thank you.
Right? You heard that? I got cut off for a minute. But you see how mysterious Krishna is, that you lived very close to the temple. It's not normal walking distance, but what could you walk in 30 minutes, 40 minutes, right? From Villaparley to Juhu, but you didn't really get it and understand Krishna until you got to Ghana. So now Krishna arranges things.
Yes, Maharaj.
Yeah. So
Maharaj, I have
many Indian people, while they're in India, they take it for granted. They don't really, they're caught up in Bollywood and material, so-called material advancement. When they get to another country, they suddenly realize the value of the Indian culture and the spiritual culture. Like in the Middle East, the Indian people, very strong devotees, And one told me that because they see these mosques everywhere, and they see the Muslims are so dedicated, and then they feel like, what's wrong with me? I should be more dedicated. And they get serious about Krishna consciousness because they have no other hope. Okay, Rastavan, you have really good lighting. Congratulations. It's even better, perfect. All right. You're like a professional studio there.
Hare Krishna, Maharaj.
Yeah.
Maharaj, I have one question. That Maharaj, when I was actually a neophyte devotee, when I actually not even started a movement, that time someone actually, I was feeling that something is pulling me, but I cannot, I cannot chant around. I don't know what is, but I have a desire. I have an inner desire that I want to do it, but I cannot. So once my brother told me that at least when our pap karma is over, then only we'll get the Krishna. So Maharaj, is it like that when our pap karma, when our bad karmas are over, then only we get Krishna?
Not necessarily. It might be a factor if we're caught up in our previous bad karma. we're not able to, we're getting reactions. And of course, sometimes that might push us to Krishna. But that's not exactly right. I mean, there might be some factor, good or bad karma. Astrology ultimately has nothing to do with spiritual life. It's just a matter of when you decide, okay, I'm going to do it. Good or bad karma won't affect you. Someone may have, seeming like all really good karma and be so caught up in enjoying the fruits of their good karma and worried, that they have no time for spiritual life. So that's a common thing in Hindu culture. When you get older, right? Now you have to work, you have to, do your dharma and all these things. And then when you get old, you can be religious. But that's, Prahlad Maharaj said, Komaram, from childhood should be. And you can still do your dharma, you can still work and have your family and we see many businessmen, kings, they're full-on devotees. They just know that they're not the doer, they know that they're not the proprietor. So it's a matter of when you just decide, okay, I'm going to do it. Desire. So sometimes our bad karma may make us realize, this world is not such a great place and we can't enjoy. Sometimes it may hold us back because we're too much caught up in it. But if you've got the idea that Krishna is out there somewhere, he'll get you free from it. There's many stories of, like I heard about one Mataji. When she was young, teenager or something, she got with some not good people, and they were just doing some kind of robbery, but it ended up somebody got killed. And she was put into prison, and it was supposed to be for life without parole or something like that. In the prison, she was a good prisoner. She actually learned like some kind of therapy or exercise teaching or something. And she tried many times to get out, get parole. And she couldn't. And they said, no way. And then her guru, she was doing by correspondence, he visited her, it was Bir Krishna Goswami, and he was talking to her and he said, we have to get you out of this place. And she was, no, it's impossible. I've been trying to get out of here, And then she came in her room, she had a roommate, and the girl said, there's some post mail for you. And she didn't pay any attention to it. She just kind of threw it on the bed. But then after a few weeks, she looked at it, and it was the papers. It said, you can get out. You're getting out in the next month or something. Just like completely mystical. And she got out. So Krishna does things like that. When you have the desire to serve him, he can annihilate all your bad karma. All right? So now you're with Krishna. So, Prabhupada said, I made your fortune, now you make others fortunate. Okay, Zalika, did anybody not speak yet?
I think everyone has spoken, Maharaj.
Okay, would anybody, after hearing everybody else, like to say something else?
We were on Jyoti Swaroop. He has never yet ended his speech, and he just asked a question in the midst.
No, he ended up before asking the question.
Okay.
Yes,
Maharaj,
Prabhuji.
I want to ask a question. I have a question. My question is that I've always used that phrase in the when I'm speaking, most especially when I'm speaking with non-devotees. I used to share that realization that no one can be.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. I'm going to do fast.
Okay, no one can be very much.
No one can be attracted to Srila Prabhupada's book unless he has developed enough punya karma. And I read one post by His Holiness Radhanath Swami recently, where he shared that no one who is one who is not hungry cannot develop appetite for food. In the same way, one who is not spiritually hungry will not be interested in spiritual topics or something like that. So I think there was some posts like that by Radhanath Maharaj. But my question is, in our endeavor to reach Srila Prabhupada's book, to share Srila Prabhupada's book, to convince others to reach Srila Prabhupada's book, what role does our effort play, irrespective of the person's spiritual readiness or punya karma?
Okay, now whether it's karma or not, I just read that too. I like that one very much. If you're not hungry, even if you eat, there's no pleasure in it. There's a proverb that says, hunger is the best spice. You understand? You understand that? Haribol?
Yes, Maharaj, I'm hearing you.
Yeah, do you understand what that means? Hunger is the best spice.
Maybe you can explain further, Maharaj.
Yeah, well, spice gives flavor to the food, right?
Yeah.
So, and many times people cook where the only taste is the spice. If you put too much chili or too much onion or something, that's the only thing you can taste.
Exactly.
But without that, they wouldn't want to eat. You take away the chili and they'll say this food has no taste.
Okay.
So, but a person who's really hungry, I've seen in Japan, of all places, these homeless men, and they find a bag of, the restaurant throws out all the stuff they clean off the plates and things. And they open that bag and they stick their head right in there with the chopsticks and they're eating. They're so hungry. So it tastes good to them. Would it make you vomit? If you smelled it. So similarly, I heard one famous motivational speaker, and he was talking about when he was young and he was working and he was very poor and he was trying to get money, and he kept saying, I was hungry, I worked late at night, I got up early, I worked extra, I was hungry. He wanted success, he wanted to make money. So if we don't feel the need for spiritual life, hungry means you think I have to eat, I'm going to die, I'm weak, I have to eat something, And you'll eat, if you're really hungry, you'll eat almost anything. So we have to have that hunger, thirst for Krishna. If we think, we realize I'm suffering, I'm out there in the dark and I need light, I need knowledge, I need love, I need connection, then we can understand, we can connect. But if we're thinking I don't need it, like in America, I was trying to distribute books and they have this mantra, I don't know if somebody teaches it on the internet or what, but everybody just says, I'm good, I'm good, I'm good. You know, like I don't need it. So they think I'm fine, I don't need it. You know, I've got money. I've got, you know, a ticket to the cinema. I've got food, you know, I can go to the restaurant. I'm good. So they can't, you can't give them Krishna. They don't want it. They're not hungry. They have to have that desire. If we're expert preachers, we can instill that desire in people, make them hungry. Like when you tell your story like that, and emotionally, and how much you felt, you know, you changed you, other people may get thinking, I'll try it, right? Like food, if you just tell someone about food, you know, try to tell them how it smells and how it looks, so they might not get hungry. But if you put it in front of them and they can smell it and they can see it, and they see other people eating it and getting really happy, they probably want to eat it also, right? So the same thing with Krishna. You see other people chanting, reading the books, being happy about it. Hopefully they'll get that hunger also. How much karma has to do with it? Ultimately, karma has nothing to do with your spiritual advancement. You just have to make that choice. And then no matter what your astrological readings are, you know, the spiritual is more powerful. All right?
Hare Krishna Maharaj.
Yes, sir.
Yes, Maharaj.
Please, I want to know what should be our mentality when we try to preach.
There's no such thing as a good or bad memory. There is no such.
What our mentality should be.
Yeah, when we, because in the Bible, Jesus taught his disciples, said they should just preach. Where they accept them, fine. Where they are not accept them, the dust of their feet will be a witness that they have preached. So it's like we should do it as a matter of duty. And he also said the parable of the sower. Also, some fell by the wayside, some fell on the stone, some fell on the fertile ground. It's like telling us that we should not be too much attached to the results, either somebody, but we should just spread it around. And those who are hungry, just like you said, we have opportunity to take advantage. Hare Krishna Maharaj.
All right. That is a comment, right?
Yes, that's my comment.
Yeah. Thank you. That's what I'm looking for today. I'm looking for all of you to open up, relax, share your realizations. Because that's what, you know, this study is meant for, that we can realize Krishna and a relationship with Krishna, somebody was saying like that, relationship with devotees, relationship with the universe, all those things we can realize by coming together is helping me. I've been asked to make a little short video talking about the importance of reading Prabhupada's books. So getting some shivo here. The main thing, my feeling is, it's for association. Sometimes people cry oh, I wish I was born in Prabhupada's time. Now, you might have been and not completed your journey. So now you're born in the next generation. We don't know. But Prabhupada is available more now almost than he was for most of us, because of course we had the books, but we didn't have the internet to associate with devotees as much. We didn't have all the Prabhupada's lectures easily available, very difficult. That whole ministry kind of really happened after Prabhupada's disappearance. We didn't have all these books of memories of Prabhupada and these videos of Prabhupada's lectures and all the spoken lectures. So there's much opportunity, but the books is very intimate association. And you take it like that. It's not that we're just trying to get some information to pass a test. You want to come closer to Krishna and be able to express that. And get hungry, thirsty, and want nectar. You know, that nectar. As we always say, conking over, eating and sleeping, you know, conking over hunger. And just transfer the hunger. So Swamis were so hungry for Krishna Katha, they never had time to fast or to eat. They didn't think, today I will fast. They just forgot to eat. They were too busy. All right. Salakya, can you just give some, I mean, we went over quite a few things, but out of all the reading we did from the first canto and the second canto up to chapter 5, you know, what's a couple of things you remember especially that you think you can apply in your life?
Hare Krishna Maharaj.
Yeah.
Talking about Srila Prabhupada's books' influence on individuals, I'm just reflecting on two verses from the scriptures. One from Bhagavad Gita and Chaitanya Charitamrita. I'm trying to reflect. Bhagavad Gita 7:28 says that Yesham Tuanta Gata Papam Gena Mam Punya Karamana. They don't have any mukta, but don't mam vrata. That is, when one is freed from sinful activities due to past credit activities in this life and next life, in the previous life and this life, it develops determination to engage in bhakti. And in Chaitanya Charitamrita, it said that Brahmananda Brahmiti Kunya Bhagavan Jiva, that is by the contact with a pure devotee, if a soul becomes fortunate, it comes in contact with a pure devotee, or the devotees in the form of his book, like Srila Prabhupada's book, it becomes fortunate. So my question is, to what degree, because we're talking about the taste and the hunger for spiritual inclination. So to what degree can Srila Prabhupada's book affect someone whose karma or sinful activities is still very deep, who's still very deep in sinful activities? To what degree can coming in contact with Srila Prabhupada's book affect such a person? Hare Krishna Maharaj.
Yeah. I
I
didn't hear anything from you for a long time. Went
Yes,
blank.
Maharaj. Okay, I was asking a question. I was reflecting on Bhagavad Gita 7:28 and Chaitanya Charitamrita, where Lord Krishna said to Arjuna that one who acts piously in this life and in the previous life and this life develops, it becomes free from sinful activities, and it engages in devotion and service with determination. But in Chaitanya Charitamrita, Lord Chaitanya Prabhu said that Brahmananda Brahmite Kunya Bhagavan Jiva, if a soul becomes fortunate and comes in contact with a pure devotee, his life becomes transformed. It gets the seed of Bhakti. So my question now is in relation to the potency of Srila Prabhupada's book in transforming individual and collective lives. My question is, to what degree can the books affect someone who is still deeply sinful, who is still whose karma is so deep that is not being freed from sinful reaction? To what degree can such a person be influenced by Srila Prabhupada's book?
You're talking about 728, Yesham Tantakatam Papa?
Yes, Maharaj.
Well, again, Prabhupada's books are Krishna. They're not different than Krishna. So no matter what condition someone's in, they contact Krishna and they can be purified of their previous sinful activities. So the purport in that verse explains the question. I don't know if it's exactly your question, but that people might ask, well, I'm not leading a, I'm not so great, but if you've taken to Krishna consciousness, that means you've become free from your past karma. And your behavior is good. You're giving up you've given up your sinful life. Hopefully free from dualities. Dualities is controlling most of us. I like this and I don't like that. And we just bounce around on sankalpa, vikalpa. But if you would want to read the purport like you usually do, it's a quite nice one.
Yes, it reads. And let me read the text again first. Pious translation, or from the beginning. Yesham tu antagata papam genamam punya karmanam te doda moha nemokta bajanti mam dridavrata. Persons who have acted piously in previous lives and in this life, and whose sinful actions eradicated are freed from the dualities of delusion, and they engage themselves in my service with determination. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. Those eligible for elevation to the transcendental position are mentioned in this verse. For those who are sinful, atheistic, foolish, and deceitful, it is very difficult to transcend the duality of desire and hate. Only those who have passed their lives in practicing the regulative principles of religion, who have acted piously, and who have conquered sinful reactions can accept devotion and service and gradually rise to the pure knowledge of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Then, gradually, they can meditate, they can mediate in trance on the, I think meditate is what is, they can meditate in trance on the Supreme Personality of Godhead. That is the process of being situated on the spiritual platform. This elevation is possible in Krishna consciousness in the association of pure devotees. For in the association of great devotees, one can be delivered from delusion. It is stated in the Srimad Bhagavatam 5.5.2 that if one actually wants to be liberated, he must render service to the devotees. Mahat Seva, Dwaram, Ahu, Vimukte. But one who associates with materialistic people is on the path leading to the darkest region of existence. Tamo, Dwaram, Visitam Sangha, Sangi Sangam. All the devotees of the Lord traverse this earth just to recover the conditioned soul from their delusion. The impersonalists do not know that forgetting their constitutional position as subordinate to the Supreme Lord is the greatest violation of God's law. Unless one is reinstated in his own constitutional position, it is not possible to understand the Supreme Personality or to be fully engaged in his transcendental loving service with determination.
All right. I'm going to read that 552. That's Lord Rishabdev.
Yeah.
Mahat Sevam Dwara Mahova Mektes. Tamo Dwaram Yoshitam
Tamu Dwaram Yoshitam Sangi Sangam. Mahanta ste Sama Shita Prasanta Vimanyava Surida Sadavo Yehe.
Very important. These verses are wonderful. If you want to really know everything in the philosophy, just read these first 17 or 18 verses of this chapter. Teachings of Lord Rishabdev. One can attain the path of liberation from material bondage only by rendering devotional service to highly advanced spiritual personalities. These personalities are impersonalists and devotees. Whether one wants to merge into the Lord's existence or wants to associate with the personality of Godhead, one should render service to the Mahatmas. For those who are not interested in such activities, who associate with people fond of women and sex, the path to hell is wide open. The Mahatmas are equipoised. They do not see any difference between one living entity and another. They are very peaceful and are fully engaged in devotional service. They are devoid of anger and they work for the benefit of everyone. They do not behave in any abominable way. Such people are known as Mahatmas. That's a lot, right?
Very, very much.
One of those verses that just has everything in it all at once.
Very, very heavy. Shila Prabhupada.
So would you like to read the purport?
The purport says that the human body is like a junction. One may either take the path of liberation or the path leading to the hellish condition. How one can take these paths is described herein. On the path of liberation, excuse me, one associates with Mahatmas, and on the path of not bondage, one associates with those attached to sense gratification and women. There are two types of Mahatmas, the impersonalists and the devotees, although their ultimate goal is different. The process of emancipation is almost the same. Both want eternal happiness. One seeks happiness in impersonal Brahma, and the other seeks happiness in the association of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. As described in the first verse, Brahma Saukyam. Brahma means spiritual or eternal. Both the impersonalists and the devotees seek eternal blissful life. In any case, it is advised that one becomes perfect. In the words of Chaitanya Charitamrita, Madhya Lila 22, text number 87, it is said, Asat Sangatyaga, Vaishnava Acharya, Sri Sangi, Eko Asadu, Krishna Bhakta Ara. To remain unattached to the modes of material nature, one should avoid associating with those who are asat or materialistic. There are two kinds of materialists. One is attached to women and sense gratification, and the other is simply a non-devotee. On the positive side is association with Mahatmas, and on the negative side is avoidance of non-devotees and women hunters. There's a purport, Maharaj.
Okay, Asat Sangha Tyaga E Vaishnavachar, Sri Sangi Ekasadu Krishna Bhakta. You know that verse, where it comes from?
Madhya Lila 2287.
Yeah, so what was going on?
Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in the conversation with Ramananda Rai.
No, not Ramananda Roy, but somebody was asking him.
Was it the conversation with the devotees from? They were asking, who is a devotee? Let me see. Chapter 22, Madhya Lila. 19, Madhya Lila is 19. Let's see. 22. The process of devotion and service.
And anyway, someone asked Lord Chaitanya, about what is devotional service or something like that.
Yes. I'm looking at, I think it was discussing with the devotees from, this is symptoms of Bhakti. Let me see. In this chapter, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu.
Anyway, there's a lot of answers. It's a long list of quotes and slokas. I'll read a couple of them. The first one is the one we just read, which is written in slightly different language. It is the verdict of all Shastras and great personalities that service to a pure devotee is a path of liberation. By contrast, association with materialistic people who are attached to material enjoyment and women is a path of darkness. Those who are actually devotees are broad-minded, equal to everyone, and very peaceful. They never become angry, and they are friendly to all living entities. Then Lord Chaitanya speaks, Krishna Bhakta Janma Mula Haya Sadhu Sangha Krishna Prema Janme Teno Puna Mukhya Anga. This is important because it's quite answering some of the questions we were getting along the way today. The root cause of devotional service to Lord Krishna is association with advanced devotees. Even when one's dormant love for Krishna awakens, association with devotees is most essential. We could collect many verses about sadhu sangha.
I think it's a question. The question was posed to Mother Vedas, the Vedic Veda personified, and Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was narrating that conversation. It is said here in the verse of that chapter. Let me go back.
Next, O my Lord, infallible Supreme Person, when a person wandering throughout the universe becomes eligible for liberation from material existence, he gets the opportunity to associate with devotees. When he associates with devotees, his attraction for you is awakened. You are the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the highest goal of the topmost devotees.
Yeah. So I think here is the beginning of the conversation. But Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was explaining that when the question was asked, Mahaprabhu was explaining when the Mother Vedas was questioned as to who is to be worshipped. Then she starts speaking. She says that They are the only Lord and the worshipable objects, similarly, the corollaries of the Sruti Sastras. Then he continued the conversation until.
O devotees, O you who are free from all sins, let me inquire from you about that which is supremely auspicious for all living entities. Association with a pure devotee for even half a moment in this material world is the greatest treasure for human society. So that's from the Bhagavatam, and we find that so many verses like that. This next verse is very, very famous one. The spiritually powerful message of Godhead can be properly discussed only in a society of devotees, and it is greatly pleasing to hear in that association. If one hears from devotees, the way of transcendental experience quickly opens and it gradually one attains. All right, so I think that's a good one. That's also from the Bhagavatam. And then what is a Vaishnava supposed to do? That's this verse. Asatsanga Tyaga. Reject the association of non-devotees. A Vaishnavachar. Take up the behavior of a Vaishnava. Stri Sangha Eka Sadhu. Those who associate with women for sense gratification are unsaintly and avoid people not saintly. So thank you all. We'll have to decide if, I think you're ready to take the test actually, but if you want to carry on with more review next week, but then you're going to have to review during the week and look up some things from all the lessons. All right.
Thank you very much, Maharaj.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Maharaj.
Hare Krishna,
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Yadunat, you are muted. Yadunat Prabhu, you are muted. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare. His very nice Kavicandra Swami Maharaj ki jai. So we meet again in the afternoon for the disappearance, pastimes, memory sharing of His Divine Grace, Srila Bhakti Swami Bhakti